Whoa. Hello friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. It's my normal speaking voice. Yesterday I got in a package, a new fragrance that I purchased and spent $150 on. Just spit flying out of my mouth, trying to get away from me because of my bad purchasing decisions. I got the new Viktor Rolf Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to say. Wore it yesterday and today, and now it's time for some first impressions. So let's go ahead and take a look at the presentation, and I'll let you know what I think about it. Guys, I'll have it linked in the description below. I got my bottle from Macy's. Memory serves, it was $134 before taxes and shipping. Also, if you want some codes, here's some codes. Pause the video, save yourself some money. Do yourselves a favor. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the presentation really quickly, and then we can hop on in to how it smells. So here we got the box. You have the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration on the front there. 90 ml size. Always wish that they gave you that extra 10 to make it 100, but no, it's 90. You have the Viktor and Rolf logo on top of the box. On one side of the box, you have a QR code. On the back, you have your ingredient information and your barcode. And on the bottom, you will find your batch code. My batch code is 22X11DY. And here we have the bottle. They've switched it up ever so slightly versus the original Spicebomb Infrared. This one has a red wrap around the bottle instead of black. Outside of that, the gradient looks pretty much the same. Hold them up to light, pretty much the same. As always, you have the little pull tab that will stop the atomizer from spraying. And then on the bottom, you have a sticker with your badge code. And I'll go ahead and point it out, but it should be kind of obvious when you take a look at the bottle up close. Mine has a bit of a leaking problem. So I noticed that as soon as I opened up my box, that it had leaked around the top of the bottle here. I tried to clean it up a little bit for the video, but it still doesn't look great when you see it from above. It's very splotchy and yeah. So something is wrong with the crimp on this bottle. And you can also see that on the little pull tab where the fragrance has leaked. It's basically melted away the paint that sits over top of the links in the chain here. So that is not great. I did reach out to Macy's and I let them know that the bottle is leaking, and they said they were gonna ship me a new one right as soon as I ship this one back to them. So after this video is done, I'll be shipping this bottle back to Macy's, and hopefully the replacement that I get is good. I wouldn't want to be the person to open that box up when it gets to Macy's because it's gonna be leaking just everywhere. So like I said, when this came in, got it out, noticed it was leaking, cleaned it up, and went ahead and sprayed it on in the name of science. And I also wore it today as well. So I guess the question that most of you are probably going to ask is, Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum, how close is it to Infrared Eau de Toilette? And I would say very close and also not that close. Yeah, that doesn't really make much sense, does it? So if you spray on Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum and you're not wearing Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette at the same time, you'll probably just think, okay, Spicebomb Infrared EDP, this is pretty much like the original, only not quite as sweet and a little bit richer, a little bit more grown up. You know, your typical eau de toilette into eau de parfum type of fragrance evolution that is common. And I would say, especially off the top, that the biggest difference is going to be that the eau de parfum is not as sweet as the eau de toilette. The eau de toilette has a good amount of fruity sweetness off the top there, and it's markedly more youthful smelling than Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum is. Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum, you can pick up additional woodiness pretty much right away. So you've got this woody, somewhat incensey, cozy kind of vibe that is right there as soon as you spray Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum on, and it stays that way as it dries down as well. Whereas Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette, that one's gonna be more sweet spicy off the top, and that sweetness lingers for quite a while, almost like a partial syrupy kind of sweetness. You know, again, it has more of a youthful tinge to it. And I would say that the spices in Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette are gonna have a little more pop to them. They're gonna be a little more zingy, whereas Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum is going to be a little bit more buttoned up. Between the two, the Eau de Parfum definitely has little more heft to it. When you smell that one, it smells like the heavier fragrance of the two. And actually, as it makes its way into the mid, I pick up a good amount of leather coming off of Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. And I'll tell you what it reminds me of to an extent. Obviously not the exact same, and this is very reductive, but it helps you get an idea maybe of how it would come across if you're familiar with the fragrance. Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum is almost like taking Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette and making it a little bit richer, making it less focused on sweetness, and mixing it together with the leathery facets of something like Dark Rebel Rider from John Varvatos. So the way that the leather and the resins are used in Dark Rebel Rider, where it has just that little bit of smokiness that comes through, but it's not like an overwhelming amount, that's really, to me, how the leather, off my skin anyway, comes across in Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. So if you want to be just very simplistic about it, you could think of it like taking that fragrance, Dark Rebel Rider, and mixing it with Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette, and taking the fruity sweetness and tamping that way down and boosting up the woodiness as well as the cinnamon in there. Again, that's a fairly simplistic way of breaking it down, but it gives you a good idea of how Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum comes across. And I know there will be some people out there that say it's redundant to own both of these, but I think that when you spray them on side by side, find out pretty quickly that they're actually very different scents. Same overall DNA approached in different ways. And for me personally, I don't actually find it redundant to own both of these. And I think this is kind of par for the course with Spicebomb, like Spicebomb and Spicebomb Extreme. Those two fragrances, a lot of similarities, but most people would say they're not really redundant to own both. Same thing with Night Vision, Eau de Toilette, and Eau de Parfum. Similarities there, but at the end of the day, when you compare them side by side, quite different as well. Same thing going on here. I will say the first time that I smelled Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum yesterday, the very first time, I wasn't too pumped about it. Then I let it settle, let it dry down, and reapplied, and the second time I thought, this is a lot better. It just seemed to work for me that time, and this morning, I liked it even more. When I really started to key in on that leather coming through and mixing with the resins and that kind of waft of smoke that you get that comes out. My wife even mentioned vanilla, that she picked up a little bit of vanilla mixing together with the spice with this one. I would say it's more like a black vanilla, sort of a semi-dusty vanilla, but you can kind of pick that up. You know, the way the resins come across, it can give a vanilla sort of vibe mixing together with everything else. And I actually like it a lot more now. If I would have done the first impressions just like unboxing it, spraying it on, it would have been middling, middling at best. But today, I think this stuff is fire. It smells really nice. And I think it's because the first time I smelled it, it was coming across mainly woody and powdery to me. And then as I kind of knew what to expect, it started to open up more. And that's when I got more of these different facets coming in and reminded me a little bit of some other scents, but scents that I like. So I will say with this one that if you try it in stores and the first time that you smell it, you're kind of nonplussed about the whole thing, that's cool, but maybe try it again some other day and see how it works for you then. Because if I were in stores and I sprayed this on the first time, I would not have purchased it. But today, I would. Now, one thing that's unfortunate about Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum is just, it's coming out in the US right now, right as we head into summer, which is the absolute worst time for this fragrance. So, yeah. This is absolutely a fall and wintertime scent. It leans more evening wear as well than it does daytime wear. So summertime, when it's gonna be 80, 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit outside, especially where I live when it gets pretty humid, yeah, I am not going to be reaching for this for probably the next 6 months, something like that. So I hope it enjoys just chilling out on my shelf back here until it starts to get cold again. I do think that for younger guys, Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette is still going to be the better choice. I think that Spicebomb Infrared EDT is just going to be more usable for younger guys. It's going to be more versatile, more of a compliment puller. That sweetness really is going to help it for guys that are younger. Now, if you're middle-aged and older between the two, then it's quite possible the Eau de Parfum is gonna be a better choice for you. But there is always that possibility that the leather note in here turns some people off. Leather can be a note that's a little tricky. You know, sometimes you get something like ombre leather where just about everybody agrees, oh yeah, super easy to wear, great, great, great. But then you have other leather notes, especially ones that are mixed together with like a little smoky facet, and this one is, where that can be kind of a make it or break it type deal. For me, no problem at all, absolutely dig it. But if you're somebody who traditionally has not liked fragrances that have that facet to it, absolutely sample this one first. It's a Spicebomb. It's an eau de parfum. The performance is good. Well above average, projects strongly all day today and yesterday, no problem. Lasts a really long time as well. So you're gonna have no issues with performance here. So those are my initial thoughts here on Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. I think if you spray it side by side with Infrared Eau de Toilette at the same time, you will see a bunch of differences. So don't think that this is something that just smells like this and then just say, oh, they're redundant, who cares? If you have both of them, or you have the capability, of getting each one and sampling them or something, spray one on here, spray one on here, go back and forth. Very different. Definitely more grown up, more mature, not as sweet, not as zingy, not as enlivening, more of a focus on woods for sure. The resins have a touch of smoke and that leather and cinnamon. So there we go. Initial impressions on Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. If you've been able to smell this one, let me know what you think about it. And also let me know if you get yours and it's all jacked up and leaking all over the place. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.